The America's Cup, home of the most technologically advanced sailboat racing on Earth. A race with a long and storied history of industrial titans and legendary underdogs. First won by the Americans in 1851 and brought back home, it has been a source of pride and patriotism for countries across the globe. Successfully defended by America for 144 years and 25 unsuccessful challenges. It has born and bred some of the greatest technological advancements in the sport of sailing. But it didn't start off with 60+ mile-per-hour foiling cats or monohulls. It started with the sailing yacht America. The first ever race for what was at the time called the 100-pound Cup was dominated by the America. She sported a striking pointed bow that was a sharp contrast to the other vessels of the time. The Queen herself watched the race, and famously, when America rounded the final turn to the finish, she asked, "But who's second?" To which it was reported, "Your Majesty, there is no second." The Cup was then brought home and privately owned by the syndicate that owned the America, until the last remaining owner donated it to the New York Yacht Club, on the terms that any foreign country could at any point challenge for the Cup with a chance to win it. With this donation, the Cup was renamed the America's Cup after her original owner. In writing this 3-page deed of gift, the America's Cup has become the oldest international sporting event in the world, 45 years older than even the modern Olympics, and also the only international sporting event that the British have never won, despite challenging for it for over 17 times. This deed of gift has been amended throughout the years to become what we know of today as the true America's Cup. The America's Cup really took shape after the first few iterations. It was changed from originally a fleet race, one with a fleet of many different boats, to a match race, essentially a 1v1. The older schooner-style yachts were soon swapped for single-masted sloop-rigged yachts, and the hull shapes continued to develop in dramatic and interesting ways as technology and material science advanced throughout the years to compensate for the new class rules. The race we're watching is from 1934. It's the oldest complete footage I was able to find at the America's Cup yachts. You can already see the difference in the style of rigs from the original Cup yachts, as well as the new hull design to compensate for the changing rule styles, the J-class rule. More on them later. Also of note is that these races were taking place during the height of the Great Depression, another feat of industry from the time period providing hundreds of jobs for shipwrights in the area. I'd like to turn my attention fully upon the J-class yachts for a moment. Developed for the America's Cup between the years 1930 and 1937, under this rule, having long overhangs on the vessels gave them a severe advantage in the race. This one simple design feature bred what must be considered some of the most beautiful and beloved yachts in the history of sailing. Treasured even today across the world, there's a fleet of devoted owners committed to keeping these majestic 130-foot yachts sailing for our viewing pleasure. The march of technology, unfortunately, inevitably left the J's in the past, as the boats moved into the new 12-meter class, which ran from 1950 through 1987 and saw the first ever American loss during the year 1983 to the Kiwis. The 12 meters had a much more modern hull design with a deep, fin keel and the spade rudder. This allowed the boats to be much more stable as well as more maneuverable than the older style yachts of the past. These new 12 meters also incorporated some of the earliest use of fiberglass that we can see on yachts. This method of construction proved to be so superior over the old-style wood and steel hulls that now it's the industry standard amongst almost all production yachts built afterwards. After the 12 meters fell out of phase, the first ever designated class was formed. The International America's Cup class, or IACC for short, was developed in 1992 to be stripped-out, thoroughbred racers designed specifically for the short sprints that the races had become. These boats were built so lightweight that a few of them actually ended up folding like bananas in heavier winds, because the boats were only built as strong as was minimally necessary in order to save weight. From this class came some of the closest and most intense racing of all the America's Cup, with these massive boats often coming within feet or even inches of each other as the skippers and crews jockey for position. Now enters the era of hydrofoils. This piece of technology allows boats to literally rise out of the water and achieve speeds that were previously only dreamed of. It started with the 72-foot foiling catamarans in 2013. These boats were then scaled back slightly to become the 50-foot foiling cats of 2017. And finally, in 2021, the most recent America's Cup stepped away from the multi-hull format with a radical new foiling monohull design, where the wings lift out of the water to keep the boats flat. The America's Cup, easily one of the most rich and interesting stories in the history of sports. I hope you all could appreciate at least a small portion of this, because I was definitely nerding out this whole time, so thank you.